Love it. Well, welcome and happy Monday. You can kind of see back here. I was going through the fiddle pack already with everybody. So, how are you feeling today?
Oh my goodness, I'm doing great. How are you? How is everyone in the room? I'm so excited to be here and sharing on dermatillomania. I saw a little bit of you going through our fiddle pack. It was wonderful.
Sorry, I'm trying to bring up the browser with 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 my outline. Oh no, I'm unprepared. Forgive me.
Oh,
Okay.
you're fine.
Um. Okay. Well, I want to introduce everybody to um. This is Lauren McKeaney. I think I maybe potentially spelled your name wrong on the flyer, which I apologize if I did. Um, but hello and welcome to Lauren. Lauren is the founder of the Picking Me Foundation. Um, we already have gotten two donations this morning. We have gotten a $55.55 donation as well as a $100 donation.
Oh,
So I'm actually kind of questioning if I need to like reset my goal because it was set at 200. And
yes, I'm so blown away. That's going to help us so much with donating some fiddle packs to some sufferers in need. That's incredible. Thank you. Thank you.
yes, I agree and thank you. Oh, there's so much I want to talk about. I'm so excited. And then my friends in the chat, you guys are all more than welcome to ask a question, and we're going to take breaks throughout the stream today to answer some of those questions. So if you guys have anything that you guys want to know, feel free to ask, and we'll take some breaks for those. Bomac and Dalen are here to help with moderating, so we appreciate them for that. So let's start. Let's kind of start from the beginning. Okay. Do we want to start with you or the foundation? So who is Lauren? Like what kind of can you tell us about like your story? Like so where how did you even find out like what dermatillomania went like meant? Like what how did you determine that like oh this actually isn't self-harm and it is something else and what kind of has that like looked like for you?
Yeah. My story with dermatillomania started when I was 5 years old, and skin picking disorder, which is what dermatillomania is, if you're not familiar. Um, and it really shaped and followed my life growing up in every aspect, every way you can think of. And it controlled my life, and it was starting to author my life for me. And it was extremely shameful and embarrassing and isolating to have this disorder, and felt like I was the only one with it for so long. And it really wasn't until a time I was hospitalized from creating an abscess from picking an area on my upper thigh, and that I actually had to talk to the doctor about possibly losing my leg due to the MRSA that I had contracted. That I overheard a nurse in the emergency room saying, "It looks like she has dermatillomania from all of the scars and sores head to toe on my body." And my ears perked up. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is that?" Like, I want to know more. And the more that I researched it, the worse it became, because I was so upset that there was so little research done and so little funding behind research for this disorder. It had only been diagnosable since 2013, and there I was in 2014, and like I've been struggling with this for decades, so that confused and upset me. And even it was stigmatized in the mental health community, which is already stigmatized. So the disorder was just looked at as a mere bad habit, comorbid with other disorders. So it really was a deflating and defeating experience upon learning about the disorder. But with that, I got to know myself in a whole new way, because once I was armed with that term, that answer for why I had been doing this for so long, I wanted to tell everyone about it, and I literally haven't shut up since. And the more that I shared about my story and my experience, I felt like I got a lot of the little bits of me that I had chipped away back. And that really turned into the Picking Me Foundation, which is a community of skin pickers, their loved ones, their supporters, and education providers alike, all choosing themselves over the disorder that chose them, which is picking me over skin picking.
I
So,
love
yeah.
that. That's amazing. And I very much relate to the whole like, oh my gosh, there's a word to make sense of me and how I'm being without it seeming negative. Like I am normal, like there isn't anything severely wrong with me. Like this is just part of who I am.
So,
Oh, let's figure out how to reintegrate now. Definitely relatable. Thank you for sharing that. It to share a little bit uh for me for like perspective for like my chatters and stuff. I actually I think I can only remember being put on antibiotics 3 or 4 times for my picking incidences. But the thing is that, and I don't know if this was like this for you, but I didn't I didn't necessarily like go to the doctor when I would have like something that looks really bad, basically, like that's super red, like, oh, you should go get that checked out. Like I feel like I tried to like, you know, tracing through it. But when I would be like there for like a different kind of checkup, like I would go for like just a random primary care doctor visit, and I would have there have been times where my doctor will pick it out and they'll be like, haha, I use the word pick. They'll be like, can we put you on some antibiotics for this in the meantime kind of thing. And I think that that's kind of what I meant, like when we had first chatted a couple weeks ago, when I said that it's such like it is such a huge piece of my life, but it's also something that is so in the back of my mind as well. And so when you talked about like having to potentially lose your leg, those are definitely concerns that I know that like my parents and my loved ones have had, because they're like, how can you think that like, this sore is okay? Do you understand what can happen when it gets this deep, when it gets this bad? And I have absolutely like had incidences like that. And so yeah, I just kind of wanted to share that because definitely it's relatable, and it's also confusing to those who don't know much about it, because I feel like we don't always often think of staff or MRSA in regards to, just generally like picking your skin, I guess. Um, so so you said that the Picking Me Foundation is really just kind of like a community of people. Did you see it kind of like, was it kind of like building itself, the foundation? Like you were like, okay, I've got all these things. I want to be the one to put it together and make it handier for other people. What really got you to decide that like a foundation is what you want to do for this?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I definitely can relate to it forming itself in a lot of ways, almost in the snowball effect, where once I got out of that hospital and had that term and that word, I really just started sharing my story and didn't stop. And I just felt innately comfortable in doing so. It was like taking on a new sense of self. And I knew myself as this mental health advocate almost immediately. And in being able to use my story, still about 5, 6 years ago, before a lot of people were really sharing about their skin picking, um, I kind of garnered a bit of a community or a following on from our hashtag picking me. And some people wanted to share their stories too, little by little, and the community grew. And um, it's been amazing to connect worldwide because I think there's something so powerful in realizing you're not alone with this disorder, really with any disorder, but especially with this disorder as it's been so not diagnosable for so long and so underreported and misunderstood in general. But finding that connection, that group of people, your people, it's empowering. So I really want just everyone who suffers with dermatillomania to have a taste of that, and I try to offer that through our foundation.
I love that. Thanks for sharing. I'm really trying to remember when I first found you because I know that like for me, I also didn't have the word. 2013 was when I graduated high school, and in high school I was put on Klonopin because they thought it was self-harm. They thought it was self-harm, so I got put
Yeah.
on Klonopin, which is it's something I've never ever taken regularly. Like the moment I took it, I was like, "Whoa, this is kind of hardcore. Like I don't want to get addicted to this."
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
I remember I feel like I was doing research kind of similar to you, like, "Oh my gosh, I finally have a word that encompasses this kind of like experience or whatever is going on." And I feel like I more than likely found you just like through that Googling because it seemed like you're definitely one of, I feel like, the first kind of foundations that really talks about dermatillomania. And so what's neat is that like just by me doing my own research, by happening to find that word, I was able to also find you and find that community of people and have shared my own story over the years. Never once did I ever think about like, oh, I should have Lauren on my show because when I found you, I didn't even know I was going to have a show. But it's amazing to kind of come full circle because I definitely know that like there was no way that I would have been like owning my skin and the way that I look if it hadn't been for like the Picking Me Foundation and the communities. Like I would not be going places like I read that some people will still wear like long sleeve shirts or long pants and stuff and bye dad love you. I didn't say hi to him and he's here and now he's leaving. Bye dad love you. Um I I just learned like it just became easier to I you're on your about card it talks about how you had your um list of different excuses whether it's like chiggers or bug bites or chicken pox and that is so related like when a kid what's wrong with well bug bites oh but they look like that yeah like just whatever you can to get them to be like I didn't do this to myself intentionally and I'm not on drugs but also this is still like what I look like and I don't know. I know that I'm definitely grateful to be able to hear the word and then now there's information about it, I guess, because I don't know, we just think of all of these different things about us and I think that for so long we've tried to do what we can to put the things in the categories to it ultimately make us more productive and stuff. But instead, when it comes to like um, finding actual communities and actual supports to just like support yourself and learn to love yourself beyond just trying to like get past maybe feeling debilitated or whatever is really what's made the difference for me. Like, I still can find myself running late for things because I got too much into a trance of picking, but at the same time, with the community aspect and I feel like it's similar with my neurodivergence because I've learned more about my neurodivergence lately compared to my picking which I've known and kind of owned it's just like I can't stop talking about it. I want everybody to know so that we know how normal it is. Like some people are like, "Oh, nobody's normal," but it's like I don't know, I feel like that's the best word. Like, I feel like we're also all very normal in our own way. Like, we're normal humans. We're not abnormal humans. But the idea of being normal is weird. Like, so normal does mean weird, but we don't need to call it weird because it's not weird, you know? Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Um, so, really quickly, do we have any questions or anything from anyone out there? And then,
I did see one question actually up top a little about what the Picking Me Foundation did. And just real briefly, as uh, a, an overall summary, I'd say we're concentrated on a couple main initiatives, one being the Fiddle Packs, which we're so graciously getting help from Jen today on, and you all on. So it's definitely our goal to continue um, getting those out in the world. And we also run a lot of social media challenges that try to develop and involve and encourage the community to get involved, to get involved in self advocacy or advocacy of the disorder. So we're really big on growing and connecting through social media and speaking engagements, speaking at conferences, exhibiting at mental health conferences, skincare conferences, nursing, teaching, what you name it, I'm there and sharing. So really just trying to spread the word.
yeah,
And
for sure. I I had a question like I asked, did social media play a role? But I think we already know that it did. I think what I'm kind of curious is like, how did you, how has, I think there's a little bit of an echo. Maybe not anymore. Anyway, how has social media impacted or influenced or supported your ability to get the word out? Like, I feel like the idea of making a foundation, even 6 years ago, maybe, is still like social media is extremely different even from 6 years ago. And so, like, did you have any idea of like the traction that you could get with this? Like, essentially to the point where you're kind of one of the main sources for information and stuff?
I don't think I was aware at the time, but I think as it started to grow and at the pace it started to grow, I was like, there's something interesting here. I would say in using a hashtag from the beginning, I mean, it's been in our branding on our first nail file back in the day, um, as just a way to connect people who have always felt so disconnected. Um, we've had a broader reach at finding our community just from the get-go. And we can date back, the first time people started sharing with the hashtag, and it's been used around 5,500 times just on its own from community members speaking. So it's been a powerful tool in connecting us and furthering our community's development, and also one that just takes intense learning. There's always a new thing to kind of learn and stay up on. So
Like Twitch.
definitely, yeah, so definitely a learning curve too. But yeah, that's a great question.
No, I like that. It's just, I
It's
don't know.
just
For me, social media has just been so amazing. Like everyone, rags on social media, and there's plenty of reasons to be mad at social media and whatever. But I'm never gonna get over the amount of connections that we've also been able to find, and the way that we've been able to help each other find themselves. Because it's like, oh, here's my personal experience. Oh, here's my personal experience. Oh, I'm not the only one in the entire world having this experience?
yeah, yeah.
Whoa.
Well,
Like, I feel like it makes an indescribable difference. One of the questions in the chat is, what was the biggest challenge in getting the foundation started? And I think that's a good question, also, especially because of how little information there was out at the time.
Yes, great question there. The biggest challenge was uh, really getting people to buy in. And I, yes, of course, I mean money wise, but I really mean more than that. I mean, in believing that there was a need for us, a need for this community.
Mm,
Not everyone is just like, oh, I'm willing to spend money on a nonprofit for mental health, specifically for skin picking disorder. It's not like their first necessary go-to. And so it was hard to really show that, hey, there was a need for this community. And I'd also say it was hard at the beginning because I only had access to my story, right? And I was very comfortable, as I've mentioned, sharing my story and using my experience, as severe as it's been with dermatillomania. But grantors or donors, didn't want to hear just about me. It sounded like I was raising funds just for myself. They needed to hear from a community.
mm.
Hadn't met or developed a community that where people felt comfortable yet to share. So really, I'd say at the beginning, having access to just my story was something that made it a little harder. But that of course has changed as we've met some incredible people. Again, like Jen being one of them, willing to share her story and experience, and now we're able to and use moments like this going forward. So.
That's a really interesting. Yeah, I just like I can't imagine being in that like situation, but I love that, obviously you've pushed through it and found the right kind of, supports to keep going. And now like did you have any idea how far of a reach that you might get or any kind of thing, like just any kind of prediction at all?
Um,
Or just
you
hopes, or like were you like
know,
internally you were like, this is gonna go far?
I mean, I had hopes. I think there's definitely something about just people who struggle with dermatillomania in general. When we're gonna do something, we're gonna do it. Like we are all in. Like we're gonna do it and get it done. So like I was like, you know what? This is gonna be a nonprofit. Yeah. And just kind of was like wanted more and more. And people ask what's next, and I'll joke and be like total world domination. But like why not, so I don't know. Did I think it would? I maybe yes, but I think it's just I always knew I couldn't be alone with this, right? Like there had to be others out there. So just getting a taste at getting to build the community just makes you want to do it so much even more.
No, I agree, and I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that. Um, let's see. Let's. So there's a couple of good like questions about how to kind of like handle it or be with it or communicating. So one of the well, quick, just if anybody has any questions out there, of course, remember that you are welcome to share them in the chat. How can someone with dermatillomania redirect the thought patterns that lead to picking? Like, there are physical ways to alleviate the impulse, like fidgets. What mental steps can those affected take to find some relief? And
Okay.
so I feel like, the fidgets are definitely, I feel like the question was, and this was from a viewer, I feel like they're acknowledging maybe the fidgets, but what kind of steps could be taken in the mental? Although for me, I've got to say, it is so second nature that it is very hard to notice.
So something I could offer here would be for the mental side, it was really game changing for me to really become how to really up my awareness. Okay. Like I could have sworn I told you I knew all the times I picked, sure. But no, really, I didn't. I mean, so when I would do these kind of games with myself, which I'll tell you one in a moment, but when I would do these little games with myself, I'd be able to kind of track my awareness, learn a little bit more of how often my hands were scanning. Scanning being fingers on the body, mind of their own, wandering, looking for something to level. So say I was doing that and all of a sudden I come to, I realize what I'm doing, I just would stand up and then I'd sit back down. And that's it. And that was my moment of awareness and then a changed behavior. So I do that, and like the amount of times I ended up doing that during a 1 hour show was like ridiculous. Like every time I caught my hand, again, checking on that probably same sore or same area at the time. I'd stand up and I just was like, oh my gosh, this is like getting, wild here. But it really tuned me into how often my hands were on my body. And it's really true that you can't change what you don't know. So knowing how often my hands were on my body uh, made me take more notice and then could work in some different strategies to help change them. So awareness definitely helped with my mental experience uh, while scanning. Is there another part that I didn't catch in that question? Was there two parts? I want to make sure I answered both parts.
So, redirecting the thought patterns and then mental steps to take relief, I guess. And so maybe the other piece you were going to talk about was the little game that you play with yourself. Is that the...
Yeah, but that'd be the standing up and down as
Oh, okay,
something that
okay,
we.
okay. I think they're clear. Are there grounding exercises? And I do have to say that the standing, like I never thought about like, standing up when I noted, like, I might make myself tired if I try to start doing that. But that's really neat. That's a very like simple way to try to start like gaining awareness. Because awareness is definitely the thing that I struggle with the most, at least.
Yeah, it just helps. It helps and it helps you offer. Then you have something to change. The more you become aware of it, so definitely like that. And for redirecting, I'd offer maybe think about your picking episodes as two different types, focused versus scanning. And if you can at least break them down as two different types, then you can take on managing them much easier. Scanning being the type that we mentioned already, where the fingers just wander, and then focused being when you're compelled to fix a perceived imperfection. Those kinds of picking episodes, I feel like you can redirect thoughts better than a scanning picking episode, where scanning your fingers, you don't even notice it. Your hands are over here until you realize there's blood. But if it's focused picking, maybe you're redirecting your thoughts by noticing that you use your picking as your thinking time. And if you notice that it's your thinking time, then maybe we can implement something else activity wise that could be used during your thinking time, because we still need our thinking time, right? But maybe it could be journaling or coloring in a book or like a crossword puzzle, things that are kind of mindless but keep your fingers busy. So, yeah, just something to offer for the redirecting there.
No, I like that. I had a thought. Oh, what? I'm gonna use the word inertia. What do you do? So this is something when someone who is actively like on your side in terms of support tries to redirect you and help you to not pick, whether it's a partner or a parent or whatever, and they like, get you to move your fingers or whatever. Do you ever experience the, all right, so what can I do to get away so I can finish this at least? Like, do you
Yeah.
don't understand that I understand you're trying to redirect my hands, but there's nothing at this moment that is going to stop me from finishing what I started?
Yeah. Yes. I've been there. I've been there, and I've definitely experienced that, and think a lot of us skin pickers who struggle with derma have. And I'd say,
Like, you
when
can't
I
just leave it half done. That almost makes
no,
it
right?
worse.
Especially, I mean, especially like I like to say dermatillomania when I describe it to people, I'm like, it's about accomplishment. It's rooted in accomplishment. There's so much in it that's rooted in accomplishment that, if you're going to stand in my way of accomplishing this, that's going to be pretty difficult for us.
Wow. Rooted in accomplishment is kind of a mind blow thing for me then.
Uh,
Wow.
yeah, right. Right.
My brain like
Yeah.
has to sit on that for a moment. um,
So funny.
that's that's really That's really interesting. Because I know I've had like people like, oh, does this come from like trying to be a perfectionist? Like you don't want any blemishes. And it's like the scanning goes beyond just like seeing things that you don't like. Like it definitely, like it is much beyond, I see this red mark and I'm going for it. It is, I feel like, um, I forgot the question that I even asked or the thought. ADHD brain this morning. Do you remember it?
No, but no, you're doing great. Keep going. No, I was reading, we had a question, so but stopped and read the question.
Are there any physical barriers to help assist in stopping or slowing down picking, i.e., materials, sleeves, gloves, that helps you have more awareness? You can talk if I can start grabbing things.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, you grab some stuff here. So yeah, there totally are. Gloves and sleeves are great, especially sleeves that you can get thumb holes around. Turtlenecks, scarves. If your picking area is your head, shower caps, finger covers, like these finger condoms, dare I say.
I was
No, oh
calling them
wait, those
that.
are the guitar. Okay, one is a guitar picking cover, which you can use over so that if your fingers scan, they feel that silicone material instead of your skin on skin. And it's also a nice sensation to just rub.
Yeah, I like just the bumpies
Right?
on it.
Just
There's
rubbing it. It's a
bumpies.
little perforated. Yeah. So those are cool. And that is yes, the finger cot, which people
That
have
almost
used.
is like a.
I know I'm not the biggest fan of it, but some people have worn them while typing, because you can still type apparently with it on.
Interesting.
So I have heard some good feedback from those. I'd also suggest other barriers as gaff tape or adhesive tape over your fingernail beds, so that if you try to go for anything, you'll feel the tape there instead. Gaff tape is just really flexible and sticky at the same time, so that's why I like it. GAFF. Um, I recommend hydrocolloid patches as barriers. Those can be placed on your skin, over pimples, over cuts, over scabs, over zits, over anything like that. Yes, Jen, you're awesome. Those are an example of them here, which we do include in our fiddle packs, which we are raising money for today. And those patches suck up any of imperfections or allow for healing time while being an alerting and awareness device. So if I have the patch on a perceived imperfection and my hand starts to wander, it hits the patch. Now I have a choice. Do I take the patch off and go in and investigate, or do I put my hand down because the patch is there? So it really just offers this moment of an opportunity to choose and to, choose hopefully the goal that I'm working towards. Um, And any other, I'm sure I could think of more barriers, but I hope that's a good little nugget of a few.
Well, I mean, this one might be maybe a barrier a tiny bit.
Yeah, so if
If
it,
you like,
right?
I'm trying to sit on my hands, but instead you're like, I'm gonna screw my fingers with this and just frustrate at this instead
Yeah,
of like, I don't know. Because the other ones include like you have to like physically do something, but this one you can just like not do.
totally. And it's, half of it is knowing when to implement them. Like, so for that, and if I know that when I'm on the train, my hands start to wander, maybe that's when I bring out my finger trap and I sit down with it at the beginning of the train ride so that my hands don't even have the opportunity to start. So it's kind of knowing your environments and figuring out where am I most triggered and what fidget, what blocker, what strategy can I work in.
I really like these little grape things.
How cool are the fake grapes? I love that you love them.
I
I think
like,
they're the best sensation.
yeah.
Aren't they so good?
Whoop.
Uh-oh.
So, as a reminder, guys, this is actually like, this is what we're raising money for today is to essentially all of these things in here come in the fiddle pack. And so
Yay!
we're raising money to be able to give these to people who may not be able to otherwise afford them. This is one of my favorites.
Oh, yes, the zipper bracelet. Very satisfying.
It's a whole
Very,
zipper, guys.
I
That's
know,
not very, but
I like that
still
one too.
fun. Um,
Yeah.
that was a good question. Yes, we are so close to the goal. We are so close to the goal. We have about 45 left for the goal. I think that would be correct. Which is super, super exciting, and I'm really, really grateful, especially because I know you guys know I was super overwhelmed last week, and I don't know, regardless of how, like, a, um, anxious I can get in planning these things, it's always still really rewarding to, like, follow through with them and like, host you and do this, even if it's not, like, you know, a huge, enormous thing. I felt like, I don't know, I just felt really compelled to reach out to you, and I think it very much aligned with BRFB week, which I think it's just like a universe thing that is what makes that happen. And I don't know, I just really, really felt like having you on to share your story because again, it's like I can have my story and they can see me, but they also see it. But the more we get and the more we can share about the different people's different experiences and what has helped them get through them. Okay, I just realized I have a question that wasn't on my outline, but this might be kind of weird, so bear with me. So, one of the things that I had an issue with kind of just most of school, really, I guess, I didn't like to shower. And I've learned that that could be like part of my neurodivergence in the sense that it's like if you don't see the need to do it, then why do it kind of thing. I always like I never felt like it was like I wasn't showering because of depression. I think it was always due to like a sensory thing. Like I didn't like how I felt after my showers, I think. Like just like the way my skin was because I don't like lotion. Lotion is too greasy for me, and so I wouldn't use that. And so I actually the reason I'm asking this is because all of a sudden I found this new in shower lotion that I feel like has complete like I shower every day now because of this lotion. And I feel like the person who recommended it to me to be able to continue to hydrate my skin because I didn't like lotion. And so do you have any like sensitivities or things like that that like affect I don't know, like your way of being, whether it's like you have a bad week and you can't shower and you notice how much it contributes to the picking, but at the same time, like, you don't like, do you like lotion? I guess there's kind of a lot of a mixture of like question, like, do you, has
Sure,
anyone else type of question?
sure. So from my experience, I would say I'm someone who doesn't like showers too much. Um, but it for me, my reasoning is more uh I try to train my hands so much off my body that the time in the shower just feels like I'm cheating and I'm
Oh God, that's a fact. Oh God, especially when you remove the band-aids and stuff. Oh God, it's such a cheat.
right. And then yeah, and I'm like, oh, well, now I'll rinse them off and clean everything and like, but then I end up like fixing or picking and I'm like, well, I'm in the shower, so it doesn't matter. It'll just get better. And then, so I was like, well, what if I shower less? And actually, in showering less and implementing some kind of, wipes and
Yep,
sprays and
yep.
things that are very hands off and touch less, has been helpful for me. So I can relate actually to, I think what you're kind of saying too. Yeah.
I thought, I don't know, I don't know why it just came to my brain, but I thought, well, this is kind of something that I've noticed that not a lot of people have really mentioned, like the shower perspective, because if we shower less, that gives, there is a chance that it can increase like blemishes on skin and stuff, you know? And so just curious, like how you've handled that.
Yeah.
But I just want to
I
say
just
that
want
we
to
got
say
another donation.
we did. Oh my goodness. Thank you, you all. You are incredible. This
We're
is the
now at,
coolest
I
community.
can't even do the math of this one, so if someone else wants to do the math for that. But thank you guys so much. Um, are the items in the pack personal preferences, things that work for you, or are the items community chosen?
Great question. Great question. And the answer is both. They really started from things that I had been using that I just kind of was driven to, kind of by need, by survival, if you will. Pipe cleaners I found from a crafting kit were laying around, and I ended up just tying them on everything, all my purses, my car, and I just really enjoyed having just something there to twist and twirl. Um, and then in explaining that, someone introduced me to a tangle. So then
Yes!
tangle, yep, exactly. So
I will
then
put I put these on my backpack and steering wheel.
and so this would be something that's more like the community knows and the community's like, oh my gosh, yes, a tangle. Then I also go to community suggestions. Somebody one time I met was carrying a fake grape in her pocket, and I was like, can I try that? And I tried it, and I was like, this is incredible. And you just roll the fake grape around, and it is so satisfying. And I was like, these must be in the pack. We've done polls and kind of people's choice fidget competitions and have people nominate kind of fidgets. And then we also do a hashtag called fidget finds where people
Ooh,
tag their fidget finds and show us what's new fidgets,
fidget
what's
finds.
popular, things like that. So it's really trying to learn, source out, and explore it all.
I need to write that down.
Yeah, fidget find. And we do them every Friday. We post a new one on our.
Friday fidget
Yeah.
finds.
I love alliteration.
um, 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 Turds. Ah, ah. I lost the one thought that I had. So I'll just go to Steve-O's question. I see a lot of surveys about skin picking and hair pulling at work. How has research impacted you both personally? Has research helped your research and case studies helped your foundation? And so I guess that's kind of a good question in the sense that how much have you found since it's been recognized by the DSM? Have you found very much research? as it has
Yeah.
continued to become
So,
more.
yeah. Yeah, no, I hear ya. So I would say first, that's incredible that at Steve-O's work there
Oh,
is.
by the way, he's in Chicago.
Oh, very cool. I'm in Chicago as well.
I know.
Um,
That's why.
yeah. And that's very cool that there's any awareness being brought to skin picking and hair pulling. That fills my heart with joy because that means, the world is changing and there's awareness is happening. So that's awesome to hear. Um, Now, for the not as happy part, um, there is not a lot of research and um, funding for research on this disorder. So, trichotillomania, a hair pulling disorder, has been diagnosable since the 70s. Now, there are cases and studies that have been done on trichotillomania, and since trichotillomania and dermatillomania are both body focused repetitive behaviors, we use their studies and kind of say that they
Mm.
relate to us, and the treatment that is offered is because of that and things like that, and that makes sense because they are sister disorders. But there still needs to be skin picking disorder studies done, and there are some. One that was done was on a supplement called NASA cysteine, and it had 50% chance of helping people with skin picking disorder. 50% of people saw themselves picking less while taking this glutamate supplement. That's one study I know that's been done. Anyway, a good doctor to look up if you're interested in research studies is Dr. John E. Grant. He's actually out of Chicago too, the University of Chicago. He's like my favorite doctor researching skin picking disorder.
Writing it down. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, and I guess just to even answer that for like my perspective, I'll be honest, I don't think I've actually looked up studies about it, and I think that that always goes back to how my picking me is so much of a part of me that it's not as debilitating as all of my brain thoughts and stuff, you know? So I think that unless I'm like in a really bad spot, I feel like I tend to like look up the things that I'm dealing with in like a hyper focused way when they are more in my way than not, I guess. And so I personally haven't looked as much, but I do have to say that this is really, really nice. The
Ah,
nice, the difference between the finger and the thing. Anyway,
nice.
um,
Nice.
so did you see
What did you
Luckiness
see?
Mango has a question in the chat, and if I can read it out loud.
Oh, I
So
didn't
they
see.
said, my husband has started pulling his beard hair out and has bald patches. When I asked him why he was doing it, he said it's because he can't bite his nails with a face mask on. Could this be the start of something I should be concerned about?
Yeah, another great question here. I would say the best thing to do, if you're comfortable having this conversation with your husband, is to ask if it's impeding his day-to-day life. Is the behavior affecting his quality of life? Are the patches embarrassing to him, and he's spending more time trying to cover them up instead of interacting socially, or is he canceling plans due to them? Things like that that could show that it's impeding his day-to-day life. If it's That's really a scale you can use to
Yeah.
gauge
Hmm.
the severity from it being
Are you
just
hiding out because you have patches on your face?
right. Yes, exactly. Um, and if the answer is yes, or if you, or the another scale to gauge on is, would you like to stop and can you not? So if the answer is yes to that, That's another characteristic they use. And these are from the DSM-5 characteristics, which you can find on my website,
And in the
pickingme.org,
folder.
and in the folder full of our resources. But yes, those are two kind of go-to scales I'd recommend using to gauge.
That's helpful. And yeah, like I don't know, I've been bleeding on my sheets since the beginning of ever. And I feel like there's like different things. Like I know this isn't like directly like the hair pulling related, but like when it comes to sheets, it's like such where I have to intentionally make sure that like I have the right sleeping clothes or I have like some kind of blanket that is between me and like the sheets of whoever I'm staying with on, or it brings extra anxiety to like, oh no, I'm going to be sleeping on someone else's bed. I don't know if I can't not leave a spot kind of thing. And those were definitely things that I would experience, I feel like. Or like, not having a band-aid on hand, but like getting far enough to where it's like you almost like you can't get away with not having a band-aid kind of thing. Maybe a weird question. At what point does skin picking impede quality of life? Is it when you have to go to a doctor? I feel like there's so many different pieces of that because sure, when you have to go to the doctor because of like you said the MRSA thing, for example. But what are some ways that you feel like the quality of life would be impeded?
So for that, that's a very, I think, personal question. I think you'd have to look at your values. And if your values and your goals and your intentions and your dreams and what have you are not being met, that could be your scale to this is impeding my quality of life. Like, if it's one of your values to get sleep every night, and that's something that you value and are committed to, but living with skin picking disorder keeps you up for 4 hours, up until 2 a.m. or something. um that would be, it's affecting my quality of life according to my value. um if you value visiting family or spending time with family and you're canceling plans because you're ashamed of how your skin looks, um, it's affecting your value and then your quality of life. Yes, of course, also what Jen said though, like with infections and the physical afflictions that can occur from the disorder as well. You pulled tendons. My back has gone out from being hunched over in front of a mirror for too long. Bruised elbows from leaning on a counter. Um, you know, uh, Carpal tunnel. Really, all of which I've experienced. So um, it really can show up in a lot of different ways, I would say. It is quite personal.
But
I
that's
hope that
that I feel like
helps.
that was still a really good like overview or at least a way to um, put it into perspective. I just want to do a time check with you really quick in case you're on a strict time schedule.
Um, oh yeah, maybe we could do just let's extend it just a little bit more because it's so fun speaking with your community.
Yes, okay, perfect. Um, cool. So that
And
I feel
we're
like
so
that's a
close to
good.
our goal too, so this is so
Yes,
awesome.
we
I
are
bet
almost to the goal. How much did we are? How much was it?
my math is so bad too. We needed math help.
1920. Bomac did it. We are 1920 away.
Okay. All right, we can do this.
We got this, guys. We got this. Oh,
Yes.
fidget. So raising this money will help us donate these to people who, in my quilt box, to people who otherwise would not be able to afford them because there's so many different good things in here. Instead
Yeah.
of like it's cool to have small packs, but like I feel like this is really well rounded in the sense that there are just the little like card that you had that's like put this here, you can put this here, you can use this here. That was very very
Oh,
thorough
good.
and
That's great
thoughtful.
to hear. That's great to hear as feedback. Thank you.
Yeah. Um, uh, Asta, is in terms of like controlling things, I guess I'm kind of confused about your question, Asta, unless you just mean like, is what you're talking about considered to be kind of what included in what we're talking about? Because yeah, same. Like I'm doing pretty well now because we're getting into fall season, but like kind of, here's where I'm at now, whatever I can do to show you the worst sides, I guess. Yeah, like stuff doesn't heal for me, I guess. So yeah, I think that it's just the repetitiveness, the compulsion, the need, the draw, the lack of awareness once it is already a thing, I guess. Yeah. Let me make sure that there are ooh, this is a good one. Have you run into doctors who will see your skin and be like, "What's happening here?" Like, I think well, the most recent reaction I had was the nice lady at the gas station asked me if it was a reaction to the vaccine. No, it's not.
Oh my
Um,
God.
but I've had doctors who have expressed concern because of the ways that you can get infected, but how it's not people like other doctors don't really know mental health things either. So have you run into any like well, I guess the question rather was how do you like communicate with your friends, family, loved ones, and even your like healthcare providers that you have dermatillomania, especially if it's something they haven't heard about?
I think it depends on who I'm communicating it to, like who the audience is, if you will. So with doctors per se, who, growing up often misdiagnosed me or just told me to just stop or told me it would leave scars, really unhelpful things like that. Looking back, and now I'm armed with the resources of how to inform them on the disorder, to say that I have it, to offer them a place to look up resources or to come in with my own to show them. Um, so I feel more prepared to handle. And I do. I recently actually just gave a resource book of all my resources to my dentist. My dentist didn't know about dermatillomania. And the reason my dentist needed to know about my dermatillomania is because I was not brushing my teeth as often because I didn't want to be in the bathroom mirror with the lights on. And I had to tell that to my dentist, and my dentist was like, "What is dermatillomania?" And so then I came back another time and with my little book on it and was like, here we are, here it is. And I brush my teeth now, and I have for a very long time at my kitchen sink. And that's where I brush my teeth. There's no mirror, and there's a toothbrush in my silverware drawer. That's how it goes. Yeah.
That's a really great tip just in general to share, and I appreciate you sharing that part as well, like the toothbrushing in the kitchen sink. Thank you. What about maybe handling um, this one isn't on the outline, but similar, I guess, to the family thing. What about like handling the people around you who are sad for you and wish that they could make it stop, but can't, and you're still over here like I don't know, like it's like, oh, I just wish you didn't do that to your skin. Your skin is so nice. How do you handle that?
Yeah. So I guess it depends on if I want to continue a relationship with this person and value a relationship with this person. So if the answer is yes to both of those, um, but they're still offering me this kind of
Like I'm
well-intended yet
carrying their emotion now about
negatively.
it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Like, and they're they could be coming from a good place, but it's not working for me, and it's not what I need. What I would do is, and this is again if I wanted to work on a relationship and have them be part of this with me, would be to bring them in as a teammate. So to offer them a strategy that's a a together strategy that would be helpful towards my skin picking management, like um the fidget handoff. So with my mom, one time I was scanning and my hands were wandering, and all of a sudden she handed me a cup. And I didn't ask for a cup, but now I was holding a cup and my hands weren't scanning or picking. And that kind of like set the precursor for me developing this fidget handoff. So my mom actually carries different fidgets. And her way of helping me or being there for me or being on my team or being part of this struggle, this journey with me is by handing me, when she sees me, scanning or picking, instead of screaming, "Stop picking, Lauren," she just, works over a fidget to me.
That's
And,
amazing.
is it perfect? Does it work perfect every time? No. Would I love it to be perfect? Yes. But, we can't aim for perfection here. So it's really more about giving it a shot and having fun with it too.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for sharing that. I feel like of all of the things that could be helpful, this one specifically is a really good tip for
Oh,
friends and families to help support the people who, are trying to handle it on their own or like it. People don't necessarily like know how to help, kind of thing. I think that that's a really good idea. I'm like in some instances it's been like, oh, I'll like they'll hold my hand or something maybe, but um, as soon as I get my hand back, it's not any. I don't know, but I think that that's a really. I like that your mom, I guess, like also carries them around and helps, because I think that that also helps with the things like the awareness, because of our scanning. It's really easy to not see when we're doing it, I guess. So that's
yes.
really super amazing. Are there any other questions on the outline that you enjoy, or like that we haven't covered, or that you want to talk about? I think I'm just trying to be courteous of your time, but also I
Yeah.
still want to hit the goal.
You're so sweet. Yeah, well, we could say just holding it till 10:15 maybe and see what we can do all together here in our last couple minutes. We're
Yeah, I
trying to,
think that's a good idea. Um,
yeah.
does anybody else have any other questions? We've had some really good questions in the chat today, guys, and I've really appreciated it. Um, at the very minimum, I could even be like, hey, so since you've kind of been experiencing this on Twitch with us, I don't know if chat would agree with me, but I would like to say that, like, I know that you guys have done little like meetups and stuff via Zoom, and I don't know how much, traffic and stuff you get with that, but if you ever did like even like a monthly Twitch stream, and it's for, because I feel like Twitch helps the people who maybe aren't going to want to be on camera, and then it also gives us the chance to type without interrupting each other. And so I don't like, Twitch has really fostered a very or I've been able to foster a very like safe community on Twitch, and it's been really kind of life changing. And so I think that, if you enjoyed this and are curious to look into it, I really definitely think that you might find some use for it. Although I do remember you saying that like it's hard to keep track of all of the different social medias, um, which is
No,
totally okay. I'm also struggling too.
no, no, but I think this has been so cool, and I'm so happy that we got to do this together, and that I got to really try this out for the first time with you. I'm really just, it's pretty I'm so happy you reached out and that you've been so gracious and willing to help put on this. I mean, how cool that we're doing a Twitch fundraiser right now and like meeting some of your community. I love this.
Yes, I very much, I'm very grateful. I think that it, I just am really fascinated by the energy that I get when I see that I want to like have someone on my stream and like see their awesomeness and be like, I need to take this energy from them and bring it so that everyone else can see it and learn more about it. And I'm just so grateful that we were able to I don't know, that I was able to reach out to you and be able to like legitimately have you on for an interview and then also come up with and accomplish like my first charity stream and definitely like I've been feeling really super like I don't know, maybe disconnected from the different charities that people had been doing, but so I had not really had interest in doing charity streams, but the moment I thought of having a stream with you I was like I would totally do a charity stream for this one. Like it just
Aw.
happened. It came out. That's exactly how it was supposed to be. And so I don't know. I'm just so grateful. I've been talking about it constantly. I'm really excited that we're already here. I'm excited that we are only $19 away from our goal as well.
So
I mean, I'm sorry, my bad. We just hit it.
did
Yes. Woo!
so oh my
Rosie!
God. Thank
It
you
was an
so
anonymous donation, but we hit it!
much. Oh my gosh. How special. This is gonna help so much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to everyone. Wow.
Thank you guys so
So
much. And
cool.
so, for a quick recap, we are raising money for these fiddle packs here. And it looks empty now because it is. But that's because it's all in here. And there's so many different things to choose from.
Yeah.
And you can find it on the website as well. Because also, every one that is purchased, one sold and one donated as well. So if you purchase one, there is one that does get donated as well. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to raise money so that we could make more of them be more available for those that can't afford them because they're so thorough and awesome. So, oh my gosh, guys, I'm so happy. So, I feel like we need to do the giveaway raffle.
Yes. Let us do that for all the donors.
Um, let's see.
We'll be raffling off one of the fiddle packs.
Yay! Fiddle pack! Okay, spinner. Um, I'm getting a spinner thing. I should have been more prepared.
You're fine.
Okay. So we have Stevo, we have Bomac, we have Omar. Do we put Anonymous in there? Is Anonymous going to reveal themselves if they win? Otherwise, we really did this with 4 heckin' people, which I'm so grateful for.
So grateful too. Oh my goodness.
Okay, let's put, oops, not that. I'm getting better at this, I promise. I've only been doing it for a year.
You're great. You're great.
Okay. Close.
I like that it's called the picker wheel.
Oh my gosh. Yep, you caught that. I definitely did not. But I also like how you like in your thing, pick a color, pick a card, pick a date, like absolutely. So I can totally see how you caught it. Bomax says stop the picker wheel. Well, I guess it's valid, right? Okay, guys. Are we ready? Do we have a drum roll? Ready? 3. Can you count down for me? I'm too awkward. Can you do it?
Ready? And 3, 2, 1, go.
Omar! Omar! I don't know if you're still here, Omar! Let me check real quick. I don't think they're here. But I'll definitely have to message them. Omar! Do you ship internationally?
I do.
Hooray! Well, I will get that from them for sure. I'm so excited. I'm so excited, you guys. And then if you guys, again, if anybody is interested in getting one for their own, just as an aside, here is the linky link. Does anybody else have any pressing questions? Otherwise, thank you so freaking much for bearing with me and working on the charity and even switching over to Discord when we couldn't get Zoom to work. But you didn't freeze once, so I don't know what I need to do to my Zoom, but this worked really well. And also, I'm happy to give you some ideas for Zoom as well, or for Discord as well, because Discord is like a community kind of base on its own, which is really neat. So yeah, I'm just so grateful. I really appreciate having you here. Where can everybody find you?
Well, thank you so much, Jen. Just wanted to say again, just what a pleasure this has been. I can't believe we hit our goal. This is truly going to help so many people. Can't wait to update you and get a picture of the packs out and one to our raffle winner. So just super excited for all this and the opportunity to be here. So thank you. And yeah, to learn more, of course, head to at pickingmefdn on social media and pickingme.org. I see our site and our shop in the chat here. That's great. And feel free to reach out to me anytime. Shoot me an email at lauren@pickingme.org.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I'm really happy that we got to do this and we pulled it off.
Yes.
Oh, tell us real quick, what do you have going on for the rest of the BRFB week?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah. So it's BFRB week, Body Focused Repetitive Behavior Week, October 1st through the 7th, which we're in the middle of and celebrating today. Woo! And let's see, tomorrow I have a live happening with the founder of Habit Aware, who makes the Keen bracelet, this vibrating bracelet.
Oh, the
that it
Keen
can help
Aware.
to when you're picking or hair pulling. So we'll be doing that at 4:15 Central on Instagram. I have a support group on Zoom tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Wednesday is a live Q&A with me. And Thursday is a podcast preview with Tallulah Willis going through a fiddle pack. So that's what our
Nice.
event is coming up.
Thank you for sharing. Oh, I'm so excited. I hope you have a great rest of your BFRB week for sure.
Thanks, love. Thank you so much for everything. I can't wait to do something like this again soon, okay?
For sure. Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
Have a good